You might feel like prosperity is delayed, as if your good is stuck behind a mysterious veil or an insurmountable wall. But I tell you, nothing is being withheld from you. It's simply unplanted. You aren't waiting on money. Money is waiting on your word. You're not hoping for opportunity. Opportunity is already circling your field, waiting for the right vibration to call it in. Every word you speak is a seed. Every thought you water is a root. Every declaration you repeat in faith is a tree waiting to bear fruit. Yet, many of you are planting unconsciously. You don't know what's growing because you don't remember what you've said. You speak of lack and then wonder why your harvest is thin. You repeat fear and then marvel at the weeds in your path. But God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. You are always planting. The question is, what are you sowing? And so I come to tell you that the soil isn't broken, the heavens aren't closed, the gates aren't locked. What's needed isn't more effort, but right planting, not more hustle, but holy speech, not more doing, but divine aligning. You've been given the power to speak your wealth into motion, to call your fortune from the unseen, to pull from the heavens with the magnet of your word. But first, you must become a master sower. You must learn to plant with precision, to water with faith, to wait with praise. For the field doesn't mock the farmer, it mirrors the seed. If the harvest seems delayed, you must check the seed. If the fruit seems bitter, you must check the word. If the ground seems barren, you must ask, did I speak or did I stay silent? Prosperity isn't earned, it's grown. And it grows in the garden of the mind. Your thoughts are the sunlight, your feelings are the moisture, your words are the command to sprout. Let us begin this sacred journey then, not to chase money, not to force manifestation, but to return to the ancient truth. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was the seed, and the seed was the wealth. You are not empty, you are soil. You are not forgotten, you are sown. You are not denied, you are divine ground awaiting instruction. And the moment you speak in alignment with spiritual law, the very fabric of reality begins to shift to serve your harvest. This is the moment to plant your success. This is the hour to dig no longer in the dirt of delay, but in the gold of divine design. You have planted many things before, some good, some careless, but now we plant on purpose. Now we speak in rhythm. Now we sow 7 holy seeds, and we do it with boldness, with clarity, and with dominion. And I promise you, if you hold the word will hold your harvest. Before we touch even one of the 7 principles, you must understand this. Prosperity isn't a reward, it's a reflection. It's not given to the deserving, but to the aligned. You aren't here to prove your worth to the world. You are here to mirror the nature of God. And the nature of God is increase. The nature of God is rhythm, expansion, abundance without toil. The lilies of the field do not labor. The birds of the air do not hoard. And yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Why? Because they live according to divine rhythm. They do not resist the invisible laws that sustain all things. But you, with your thoughts of fear and your words of delay, you block the current with your own confession. You say, I can't afford it. And the law says, as you wish. You say, it never works for me. And the soil receives your word and bears fruit accordingly. You say, I'm trying. And the Spirit says, then you shall try. Not receive, not reap, but try. I say unto you, stop trying, start planting. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who cast seed into the ground. And the seed grew he knew not how, for the earth bringeth forth of herself first the blade, then the ear, then the full corn in ear. This isn't metaphor alone. This is metaphysical instruction. The seed is your word. The ground is your consciousness. The growth is inevitable if the word is right and the ground is prepared. Prosperity isn't an accident. It's a crop. And crops obey principle, not personality. The law doesn't care how long you've struggled. The law doesn't pity your debt or delay. The law only asks, what are you sowing? What words are you speaking daily, rhythmically, faithfully? Not when you're in the mood, but when you rise, when you walk, when you fear, when you rest. For the seed you plant under pressure is the one that shapes your field. Let me speak to you plainly. God's wealth isn't hidden. It's coded in law. You've been begging for miracles while breaking every spiritual principle that governs prosperity. You hoard instead of give. You speak of lack instead of plenty. You expect delay instead of precision. You imagine small. You prepare for just enough. And then you call your results God's will. But I tell you, God's will is increase. God's will is overflow. God's will is the multiplication of right word into right harvest. It's not punishment that has slowed you. It's misalignment. You are speaking one thing and believing another. You are declaring in the morning and doubting by noon. You are planting wheat and then pulling it up to check the roots. You must return to rhythm, for all divine creation flows in rhythm. Days follow nights, tides follow the moon, seasons obey cycles, and your wealth, yes, your visible supply, obeys the same rhythm. The moment you begin to think with divine order, to speak in repetition, to expect as the sun expects to rise, then wealth begins to mirror you. Not because you've earned it, but because you've aligned with it. So hear me now, and hear me clearly. You will not receive what you hope for. You will receive what you prepare for. You will not manifest what you wish for. You will manifest what you expect, what you decree, what you embody in your words, your tones, your posture, your imagination. And when these become ordered, when your word, image, and expectancy align, then the ground responds, and the harvest cannot help but obey. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and hath long patience for it. But God is not slow. The seed was never late. The instruction was simply unsown. Today we will plant again, this time in rhythm, this time in law, this time with sacred precision. The 7 principles I shall now give you are not opinions, nor formulas. They are patterns that govern the field of wealth. Plant them, water them, and protect them with your word, and the garden of your life will shift no longer barren, no longer unpredictable, but ordered, fruitful, multiplying with ease. Not by might nor by power, but by spiritual alignment. Let me tell you a story, not of loss but of misalignment, not of evil but of error. Her name was Miriam, and though she was bright, kind, and generous by nature, she lived in a constant state of financial struggle. She worked diligently, she saved where she could, she read every book she could find on success, and even pinned Bible verses to her mirror. But no matter how she tried, it seemed as though her good ran from her. Promotions passed her by, clients ghosted her at the final moment, her debts lingered like a fog. And so she came to me, not bitter, but tired. She asked, "Is there something spiritually wrong with me?" And I looked at her, full of compassion and truth, and I said, "No, my dear, but you have been faithful to the wrong seed. She blinked, confused. So I asked her, "What do you say when you're alone? What do you rehearse in your mind before a bill arrives, before a new opportunity appears, when the check is late or the door seems closed?" And she confessed, "I say things like, 'Here we go again,' or 'It's always something,' or 'I can't get ahead no matter what I do.'" And I smiled, not because I was amused, but because I had heard it all before. "Then that is what your field has grown," I said. "You did not plant weeds on purpose, but you planted them nonetheless. And the law does not distinguish between intentional and habitual. It only obeys what is spoken in rhythm and belief." You see, Miriam believed she was trying. She had effort, emotion, even a hunger for change. But her daily words were saturated with lack. Her internal rhythm repeated fear. Her affirmations were once a day, but her complaints were 20 times more. She would declare, "I am abundant," in the morning and then say, "I can't afford that," 3 hours later. She would read a scripture at sunrise and cancel it by lunchtime with a sigh of defeat or a casual phrase of doubt. And so her ground, though holy, was confused. Her garden was mixed. Her seed was double-minded. And the Bible says plainly, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Let not that man think he shall receive anything of the Lord." The laws of wealth are exact. They are not cruel, but they are just. They do not bend to feeling. They respond to clarity. The earth brings forth what is spoken into it. And Miriam had not realized how many years she had been planting survival instead of prosperity. She praised scarcity. She entertained the familiar ache of not enough. She repeated generational phrases passed down like family heirlooms. "Money doesn't grow on trees. It's expensive. That's too much for people like us." And with every repetition, she laid down another root of lack, not maliciously, but faithfully. And I say to you now, many of you are doing the same. You believe because you read, but what do you repeat? You pray for rain, but then speak drought. You ask for abundance, and then live as though famine is permanent. You are not cursed. You are simply rehearsing the wrong reality. And the universe, ever obedient, gives you the exact result of your subconscious liturgy. Let me be even clearer. The words you whisper to yourself while washing dishes, driving alone, lying in bed at night, those are the seeds. The phrases you say without thinking, the "of course this would happen," the "knowing my luck," the "I knew it wouldn't last," those are the spells that structure your field. They do not need intensity. They only need repetition. For it is not emotion alone that creates. It is habitual rhythm. And what is rhythm but repeated vibration, spoken word, embodied belief? So when Miriam asked me then, "How do I change?" I told her, first, you must become the gatekeeper of your mouth. Nothing leaves your lips that does not serve your good. Every word is either a seed or a thorn. Choose. And we began the holy work, not of chasing more, but of weeding out the unconscious agreements with lack. Because you cannot plant roses while watering weeds. You cannot speak truth once and lie 20 times a day. You must become single-minded in truth, and until you do, your field will reflect your division. You are never punished for your doubt, but you are always mirrored by it. Miriam's breakthrough did not come from effort. It came from speech. It did not come through strategy. It came through surrender to divine rhythm. Once she saw the law for what it was: precise, neutral, obedient. She began to take back her mouth. No longer casual with her words, she became reverent. Her declarations were no longer something she said to impress spirit. They were commands she issued from her throne of dominion. She stopped using affirmations like lifeboats and began using them like scepters. The shift was immediate, not in her outer world, but in her frequency. And when frequency changes, form must follow. We began with one simple phrase, spoken daily. My harvest is secure. My ground is holy. My seed is blessed. She said it while tying her shoes. She said it brushing her hair. She said it instead of I hope it works, or we'll see what happens. Her vocabulary shifted from passive to prophetic. She no longer described her circumstances. She declared her reality. And though the bills were still there and the clients were still unsure, her posture had changed. And law responds not to situation, but to vibration. Within a week, someone who had owed her money for over a year sent full payment. A missed opportunity reappeared without effort. The door that once creaked open was now flung wide, and not because she pushed, but because she planted. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind." This is not poetic language. This is blueprint. God does not toil, he speaks. God does not worry, he declares. And the earth brings forth. Miriam had to learn that her life would not change through worry. It would change through rhythm. And so must yours. Let me give you the truth that changed her. You don't need to say it louder. You need to say it longer. Spiritual law doesn't respond to volume. It responds to vibration. She made a covenant with her own mouth. Every word must now serve the garden. If it fed the fruit, it stayed. If it fed the weeds, it was uprooted. And in this fidelity, the reversal came. Not because she earned it, but because she harmonized with it. You may think your prosperity is far, but it is close, closer than breath. The moment you speak as one aligned with heaven, the ground hears you. Seed does not resist, it obeys. Miriam did not speak wealth in hopes that one day she'd feel it. She spoke it because in the spirit it was already done. And the more she praised it, the more it came. For it is written, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And your declaration is the title deed. You must choose now what kind of sower you will be. Will you continue to plant in fear, out of habit, from the broken stories of generations past? Or will you become a master gardener, a divine farmer who knows the seed, trusts the soil, and praises the harvest before it arrives? Miriam chose, and the fruit multiplied not by luck, but by law. Now let us turn inward to your mouth, your field, your harvest. You have heard Miriam's story, but the law is not partial. What it did for her, it must do for you, if you plant rightly, if you speak with rhythm, if you decree with alignment. So I ask you plainly, child of spirit, what are you planting? What phrases do you repeat without reverence? What words sit at the root of your circumstance? You may think you are simply reacting to life, but in truth, life is reacting to you, to your word, to your tone, to your assumption. Let us make no mistake. You are already planting something every day, every hour. You are never neutral. You are either sowing weeds or wheat. And most people I have found do not fail because they are lazy. They fail because they are careless. They let phrases slip through their lips like poisoned rain. Money's tight. We can't afford that. I'm always behind. That never works for me. And then they wonder why the ground does not yield grapes, only thorns. But I tell you, the field cannot produce what you did not sow. and it will not reject what you did sow, no matter how casually it was spoken. Do you not know the law? Every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof. Why? Because every word is a seed. There are no neutral phrases. There are no harmless murmurs. The ground does not understand sarcasm. The soil does not interpret your frustration. It only knows vibration, and it brings forth according to its kind. You speak lack, and lack appears. You speak delay, and doors close. You speak fear, and protection dissolves. And then you say, "It must not be my time." But I say, your time has been buried beneath your own voice. So now, with love and truth, I ask you, what have you agreed with? Whose phrases have you adopted? What ancestral patterns live on in your mouth? Are you still repeating what your father said about success? Are you echoing your mother's voice when it comes to money, worth, and struggle? Are you rehearsing cultural spells that say the economy is bad or people like us just don't get ahead? These are curses passed down as conversation, but you are here now and you have heard the law. You are accountable not for what they believed, but for what you now know, and knowledge demands correction. You must become a holy steward of your language. You must place a guard upon your lips, for the moment you declare, "I uproot every false word. I break the agreement with lack," the spiritual realm begins its reversal. Yes, reversal, for the laws of God are not only creative, they are corrective. You can dig up what you've planted. You can resow the field. You can call back your good from the corners where your confusion scattered it. But it begins with the inner courtroom. You must put your old thoughts on trial. Every phrase that does not agree with divine abundance must be silenced. Every belief that calls you separate from supply must be uprooted. Every joke, every sigh, every complaint that minimizes your worth must be laid at the altar and burned. Let the weak say, "I am strong." Say it before you feel it. Say it until you believe it. Say it until the outer world bends to the inner decree. You may say, "But I'm surrounded by lack." And I say, then all the more reason to speak abundance. You may say, "But my accounts are low." And I say, then fill your mouth with gold. For the law does not need evidence, it needs instruction. The field does not ask how you feel, it only asks what you declare. And if you declare rightly, the law must obey, not because you are loud, but because you are aligned. Not because you are perfect, but because you are consistent. This is the beginning of your replanting. This is the hour when you look at every phrase you've sown and say, "This dies, this lives, this I uproot, this I water." And with that sacred judgment, the ground begins to stir, the old roots wither, the new roots form, and the garden of your wealth begins to shift. Not later, now. Let us now plant again, not with confusion but with covenant, not with guesswork but with spiritual science. There are 7 principles that govern prosperity, and when you align with them, the soil must yield. These are not theories. They are not personal philosophies. They are divine mechanics. Each one is a seed. Each one, when spoken, watered, and protected, builds your garden of visible wealth. I will give them to you now, not to memorize but to declare, to live, to plant with your voice until they bloom in your life without strain. The 7 principles of prosperity right word. You must speak only that which builds, expands, and blesses. No more lack, laced phrases, no more casual curses. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Every word is a container, fill yours with faith. Speak not of what is, speak of what shall be, for it is already so in spirit. Say, I now speak the word of increase. My mouth waters the field of abundance. Right image, you must see yourself as one already prospering. No more visions of failure, of rejection, of not enough. According to your faith be it unto you. And faith has vision. Close your eyes and picture the fullness. Walk in it mentally. Set your table in the presence of the very doubt that once tormented you. Say, my inner picture is perfect. I see only growth, only gold, only divine delivery. Right expectancy. You must prepare for the blessing, not fear its delay. Expectancy is the magnet of manifestation. Expect with joy, expect with confidence, expect with no backdoor in your belief. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Say, my good arrives on time, my harvest meets me in perfect rhythm. Right rhythm, you must repeat your truth not once, but continually. The power is not in a single declaration, but in holy rhythm. You must become a vessel of repetition, daily, hourly, until the subconscious bows to your command. Rhythm is royalty. Say, I walk in the rhythm of heaven. I plant and water in divine time. Right giving, you must give as one who already has. This breaks the back of fear. Giving unlocks the flow. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Do not give from guilt, give from dominion. Say, I give as the rich give. My supply cannot run dry. Right reception, you must receive without apology. No shrinking, no deflection. You must open your hands to the increase and say yes to the floodgates. You were not designed to survive. You were designed to steward, to hold, to carry. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. Say, I receive as royalty. I do not reject what I once requested. Right identity. You must remember who you are. Not a beggar, not a struggler, not one waiting for permission. You are the image of the Creator. You are a divine channel of wealth. Know ye not that ye are God's? Say, I am the rich child of a loving Father. I carry heaven's signature in my soul. These are your 7 principles, not abstract, but activated. Each one is a living seed. Each one will sprout if you speak it, believe it, and repeat it. Don't wait to feel ready. You are ready because you are aware. You are ready because you've heard. You are ready because the soil is listening. Speak now, plant now, prosper now. For the ground is no longer hard. It has been broken by revelation. The rain is coming. The sun is already up. All that is missing is your word. And now you have it. Let us go deeper now, not into effort but into essence. For what you have called your life is nothing but a garden of your inner language. And what you have called your struggle is merely a mirror of misplaced seed. But I tell you this truth with sacred boldness. You are not the problem, you are the ground. And the ground is not to be blamed. It is to be blessed, tended, honored. You were never broken, only overgrown with untruth. You were never unworthy, only confused in your confession. You are the garden of God, and the time has come to plant Eden again. The kingdom of God is not in the sky, not in a future event, not in a temple built by man. It is within you. It is in your voice. It is in your vision. It is in the soil of your imagination, watered by your daily declarations. And just as the garden was placed in the beginning and commanded to bring forth, so too is your consciousness, a sacred place of production. But no seed grows where there is silence, no fruit forms where there is contradiction, no harvest obeys the voice of double-mindedness. And so I ask you, will you now become a keeper of your Eden? Will you till your words? Will you protect your principles? Will you speak not just occasionally, but as a priest, as a prophet, as a co-creator with divine law? You must, for this is not poetic language, it is spiritual mechanics. God does not bless confusion, God blesses order. And the order of heaven is seed time and harvest, not hope and waiting, not wishing and delay. Seed time, harvest. This is not cruel, it is miraculous, because it means you do not need anything outside of you. You don't need to be chosen by men. You don't need to qualify according to the world. You only need to plant, and the earth brought forth her increase. That is the law, and it will never fail you. You thought the reason you lacked was punishment, but the truth is deeper and more glorious. Your lack was only a call to speak. Your delay was the divine tapping at the walls of your inner garden, asking you to remember that your mouth was meant for creation, that your mind was meant to hold visions too big, logic, that your hands were meant to gather the fruit of bold decrees. You have walked long enough in survival. You have begged long enough at the gates. The gates were never closed. You simply never gave the command to open them. So I say to you now, as a sister in spirit, as one who has walked through the wilderness and emerged clothed in divine rhythm, speak, command, decree, let the old field die, let the weeds burn, let the small thoughts wither, let the sacred rose of your garden be cleared and planted fresh. For the 7 principles you now carry are more than information. They are the pattern of paradise. You are the gardener, you are the vessel, you are the gate, and heaven is waiting on your mouth. You do not need a new season, you need a new sentence. You do not need a new miracle, you need a new rhythm. You do not need to force manifestation. You need to return to the field and say, let there be fruit, let there be flow, let there be fulfillment. And the moment you speak in that tone, with that faith, under that law, the soil must respond, the spirit must move, the harvest must rise. Now we speak not as beggars, not as seekers, but as rulers of the garden. We do not whisper, we do not wonder, we declare. For the soil is listening, the gates are open, the heavens are alert. Every word you now speak is seed, and every seed is a command to prosper. Let your voice become the rain, let your tone become the rhythm, let your breath carry power. These are not mere phrases, these are spiritual instruments, tuned to the frequency of divine harvest. Declare with me now, not for performance, but for planting, not to beg God to move, but to align with the law that never fails. Say it aloud, say it in rhythm, say it until the old vibration breaks and the new field rises. I plant the word, I water with praise, I reap with joy. I do not chase supply, I create alignment. I do not count what I lack, I multiply what I carry. I do not wait for the world to bless me, I bless my world with the word. My ground is ready, my seed is divine, my thoughts are holy soil, my mouth is a fountain of good. No weeds remain, for I have uprooted the old. No confusion lives here, for I have chosen clarity. There is no toil in heaven's garden, only truth. I do not struggle for what is mine. I do not fear delay. I do not resist what flows. I allow, I receive, I expect, I rest in rhythm. Say it again, this time as if your garden depends on it, because it does. I plant the word, I water with praise. I reap with joy. Let every word be a command. Let every phrase be a promise. Let every syllable till the soil and call forth the increase. My ground is ready. My seed is divine. I am the rich child of a loving Father. What I plant, I reap. What I water, I gather. My words never return void. They return as fruit. There is no toil in heaven's garden, only truth. I walk in divine ease. I manifest by spoken law. I have no fear of lack, for I am the sower and the heir. The garden obeys my voice. Let this vibration become your new language. Let these words become your root system. Let this rhythm become your daily rain. And when doubt knocks at the gate, speak again. When fear rises in the night, declare again. When appearances contradict, decree again. You are no longer planting randomly. You are now a master gardener, a rhythm keeper, a kingdom speaker. The harvest has already begun. If this word has opened your soil, if something deep within you stirred, remembered, rose, then I invite you now to plant one final seed, a word of agreement. Speak it where all can see. Let it be the banner over your garden, the signal to heaven and to self that you are no longer waiting, no longer doubting, no longer wavering. You are now aligned. You are now aware. You are now a sower of spiritual wealth. And so I ask you, in sacred rhythm, comment this and make it law. I now plant the 7 laws of wealth. My harvest is certain, not as a gesture, not as a ritual, but as a decree. Let your comment be the first sprout of your new season. Let it be the line in the sand between who you were and who you now are. The one who knows, the one who speaks, the one who waters, the one who reaps. And let these 7 principles remain with you, not as inspiration, but as instruction. Speak them daily, live them boldly, guard them as treasure. For the ground is always listening, and from this moment forward, so is your harvest. You are no longer hoping. You are no longer wondering. You are planting with precision, and you shall reap in divine abundance. Your word is your seed. Your rhythm is your rain. Your life is your garden. Speak, and it is.